everyone, welcome to the Craft Pit Stop. If you are new here, please click that subscribe button down below to be notified when I post my new craft videos. In this video, I am going to show you how to make this little fellow. This is a pumpkin jar tea light candle holder, and it is perfect to make and sell for craft shows, to make for decorations in your own home, and it could also be a great craft to make in the classroom. And I will show you a few modifications that would make this a little bit of a quicker craft for the classroom setting. So, with that being said, let's get started. So the items that you will need to make this are the green cardstock paper, some Elmer's glue. I use clear. I'm assuming you could probably use white and it would be okay. These are LED tea light candles. I picked these up at the Dollar Zone or Dollar Tree for $1, 2 for $1, and they have a flickering effect, which is really, really neat. You will need one piece of orange tissue paper, and the measurements roughly are 6 inches by 6 inches. You will also need a face printout. I just printed this off my computer. I got the face from Google and just copied and pasted it into Microsoft Word. I used 1/2-inch margins in the Word document, and I put the face in and separated into 2 columns, and then just pasted that into the column and printed it out. If you wanted to modify this to make it a little bit simpler for a classroom craft, you could always do the eyes. Just make basic triangles for the eyes and a triangle for the nose. And for younger kids, you could actually just print out a black rectangle, and they could just cut the shape how they want for the mouth, and that would make it a little bit quicker of a craft for them. You will also need some hemp cord, and that'll go around to the top of the jar. And I'll show you a modification when we get to that step as well. I use this little cutter to cut out leaves. Picked this up at the craft store. You can always print out leaves from something you found on Google. You could also use maybe like some felt stickers or some foamies leaves that are smaller to stick in the top of the jar. And of course you will need a baby food jar. So the first thing you want to do is remove the label from the baby food jar. It will leave a sticky residue, but you don't have to worry about that because we're working with glue, so it's going to be sticky anyway. The next thing you need to do is take your 6 by 6 piece of orange tissue paper and cut squares. Cut it into squares. Typically what I do is I just cut it into strips, and then I stack the strips and cut those into squares. And for time's sake, I have already done that. Alrighty. Now, and another thing, I always keep a piece of notebook paper or a blank piece of paper here. That keeps your working area underneath from getting glue all over it, because it does drip off the jar sometimes. So I keep that there, and I also use it to wipe my fingers. I don't want to get too much glue on them. So what you want to do is just put a few stripes of glue on there, and take your finger and you rub it around. And you do want to get it on the base of the jar a little bit, because you want the tissue paper to go down underneath of it, just a little bit, not a whole lot. Okay. Once you get that smeared around, I always wipe the excess off of my finger so it's not too sticky. And then I use it to pick up the paper, and I just randomly put it on there and just tap them on. Just like that. You do want to overlap them some, because that gives it a little bit more character. Once it dries, it looks, personally, I think it looks a lot better when you have some of the overlapping. And if you'll see, some of the corners, like right here, are not sticking down, that's okay. I will show you once we get all the tissue paper on how to fix that, and they'll be smoothed out and you won't have to worry about that. See your time right there. All that's not stuck right now, but that's okay. And not only do you want to take it around the base of the jar, just like that, you want to also make sure you get up on the top portion. Just like that, up to the rim of the top of the jar. And now, if you would like, you can go ahead and hit that pause button, and I will be back here shortly with my jar fully covered in tissue paper. I have now got my entire jar covered. I did forget to mention, when you are putting the glue on, just do a few sections at a time, just smaller sections, and smearing the glue, because if you try to do the whole jar at once, it'll just make a mess and be dripping everywhere. So I just do a few stripes, rub it in, put the tissue paper on. Now, if you'll notice, I do have a few open spaces there and right down here. So how I fill those in, I just take a few squares and cut them in half and smaller pieces. And then I just add a little bit of glue in those areas. Wipe my finger off there. Being super sticky. Here we go. And just put a few of those in place. And again, I will show you how to get the pieces smoothed out here in just a second. Get all these small spaces filled in first. And you really don't have to worry about how much glue you use. You're going to be using a bunch here in just a second anyway. One more big spot right there. Just put this one right there. Maybe. And we'll just put an extra square right there. Alrighty, we got all of our spots filled in. Now what you're going to want to do is take your glue and again do a few more stripes, and then what you're going to do is just easily rub all that extra glue over some of the edges. And like I said, you can use a bunch of glue in this and it won't hurt a thing. You don't want to push too hard because it will make the tissue paper slide around and can easily rip with it being as wet as it is. And just continue to go all the way around. The next thing you want to do while the tissue paper is still wet is to get your face on. I have already cut my pieces out here. I'm just going to go ahead and put those on. And again, if you wanted to modify this to make this a quicker craft for a classroom, you can simply just print out triangles for the eyes and the nose. For younger kids, you could print out a black rectangle and let them cut their own shape for their mouth. And that would save a lot of time. And I like putting these on while the tissue paper is still wet. That way you can slide them around a little bit better. As long as you don't push too hard, because if you push too hard, then you'll actually start moving the tissue paper itself. And I would not recommend using construction paper because it's extremely thick and it may not stick as well. Okay, I think that looks good. Now what you want to do is the same thing you did with the tissue paper. You want to get extra glue on there and just carefully rub it around there. And as you can see, it actually darkens the ink on the paper, which is really nice. And there you go. And that's all you do for now. You want to wait. I typically do these if I make some, either do them in the evening and let them dry overnight, or do a few in the morning and let them dry during the day. It takes roughly, I think, about 6 hours total for this glue to completely dry. It does take a while since there's so much glue on here. So what you'll need to do is just, I flip it on the top and leave it like that to dry. And I will see you in a moment with the next step. This guy, I actually just put his face on, but all the tissue paper has already dried. I let this dry overnight. Now, this step, this is another step you could simplify for a classroom project. If you would like, instead of doing the hemp cord around the top, you could simply get a ribbon, green, brown, this is gold, and this is 3/8 inch. And what you could do would just simply put that around the edge all the way around and glue it. And kind of get an idea what that looks like. And that would still be very, very cute. We are going to work with the hemp. I'm not exactly sure how long I need. I just kind of unwind it and go. So to get it started, glue all over me, I simply put a piece of tape here just to hold the beginning part. And then I just start wrapping around. I typically go right underneath the brim there to start. And then once I get back there, I move up like that. Just kind of hold it as you go and keep it pretty tight because it likes to slide down. And it's okay if this drops down. You're going to be gluing it back in place anyway here at the end. Alrighty, I will be right back once I get all this hemp on. I've got my hemp cord wrapped all the way around. And now here at the very end, what I'm going to do is that piece of tape that was holding the beginning piece, just slide this end piece in there if it'll let me. And tape that up and trim that off. Okay, and now what you want to do is take some more glue, and again we're going to make some rows here. And you're just going to soak the hemp cord with the glue so that it will dry and stay in place. And this is the point, if the cording separates here and there, then you can push it together by adding the glue. It helps hold it together. And I put it on pretty thick so that it'll soak in good. And you just do this all the way around. And make sure I get plenty on the bottom too, because you don't want that bottom row sliding down on you once everything dries. And I just leave the tape on there. It's in the back, so you can't really see it anyway. But if you'd like, you can always pull it up and trim it off after the glue dries. That way your cording doesn't come loose. And if there's any excess glue down there on the bottom, just smooth that out real good. Always make sure that end piece right before the tape and right after gets lots of glue. Okay, now the final touch is adding in your leaves. And again, you can use felt stickers, foamies. If you have the leaf puncher as I do, you can just punch them out and stick it in. And then what I try to do is just get the edge down in there. Just like that. And I am actually taking off the stems of these because when you're trying to shove it down in the twine, it just bends. And you just stick them in. Just like that, and they're sticking out just a little bit. And then what you'll do is take a little bit more glue in there. And that way when it dries, those will stay put. And there you go. You have your pumpkin jar tea light candle holder. And then once this completely dries, all you'll do is add your tea light candle in there, and you've got a cute little decoration for fall and for Halloween. Thanks for watching my video. Again, if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, go ahead and click that now. That way you'll be notified of any new videos that I post. I'm going to try to get more up more and more throughout the next couple weeks. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Please feel free to share it. Share it on your Facebook page, Instagram, wherever you'd like. Any kind of craft groups you're in, and share it in there as well. And I hope you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful day. Thanks.